First of all, I want to thank the grace of heaven, virtue of our enlightening masters, mercy of our transmitters, and also trust placed by our lecturers and all of you for the opportunity to learn to talk about project management with you. May I ask how many of you are involved in some type of project management at your workplace or even at school? All of you, right? Very good. Then you can also contribute. Okay. Here's my agenda for the day. First, we understand what is the project, and then what is project management. Third one is the project phases, or you also call it a life cycle of a project. And then there are key steps or very important things we do to make sure the successful completion of the project. And then the last one, what makes a good project manager. Okay, have you ever heard of a little glitch with Jeb Bush campaign? I guess they forgot to pay for the domain, the use of the website. Okay, so when people type in www.jebbush.com, it became Donald Trump's. So this shows very poor project management. This is something so essential, so fundamental, and yet people in his campaign team forgot to pay for the use of the website. And I guess soon after that, he actually just withdrew from the campaign. Of course, this is not the only thing that contributed to the decision, but we know that it's very important. In Chinese, from the analect, there's a chapter that says 工欲善其事，必先利其器. Understand what that means? So in order for us to deliver a good result for a certain project, or to attain our goal, then we need to polish our tools and resources, which means that we have to have a very good team in place to help bring this project into fruition. We also have to have all of our resources ready. Resources meaning like the external resources like manpower, and also maybe funding, budgets. And also internal resources is our readiness, our technical know-hows. Okay, let's go to the... Okay, so what is a project? It's a unique set of coordinated activities with a definite start and finishing point, undertaken by an individual or organization to meet specific objectives within defined, scheduled cost and performance parameters. There are so many different definitions for a project, but this is one by British Standards Institute. It kind of covers all the aspects of a project. Okay, so first it's a unique, set of activities, and it has a start and it also has an end, a finishing point, and also there's a goal or objective to be achieved. Within certain period of time, and also we also have a defined, cost or budget and performance standards. PMI, which is also very good institute for project management, it says it's a temporary endeavor undertaken to provide a particular product or service. So actually, as in our life or at our work, we are always in some type of project management situation. Sometimes when we want to buy maybe, like we want to buy a house, or we want to do some renovation to a house, that all requires some type of management, okay? So it's every day. So this is going to help us when we know how to better manage a project. Okay, so what is project management? Okay, so let me see. Okay, this again is by the British Standards Institute. It says the project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities in order to meet or exceed stakeholders' needs and expectations from a project. So this is to the skills and knowledge and tools and techniques needed to bring about the fruition or the achievement or the attainment of the goals by the stakeholders. We'll talk about stakeholders later. Okay. Now, this is the project phases. We say the life cycle of a project. Okay, the first one is defining or the scoping. The second one is planning. The third one is executing, and the last one is conclusion. Also comes with that is the evaluation of the project that we just complete. Okay, now first of all, to define a project. Okay, now first of all, we have to have a set of goals or objectives. Now, goals and objectives, there's a little variation. A goal is more vague, broad, and more long-term. Objectives is more specific. Like we say, we want to increase the brand awareness. Is this a goal or objectives? Okay, I'm going to give you another statement, and you can tell. Okay, we are going to increase the sales by 30% within a 1 year period. That's objective, because you have very specific number, time, and also the goal, the targets, right? Okay. So that's very important, because without a goal, we don't know what we are achieving, what we are doing. The next one is to know our stakeholders. The stakeholders can be an individual or it can be an organization whose interests may be tied to the completion of the project. A stakeholder can also sometimes be the project sponsor. Okay, now for example, like in an advertisement, the stakeholder is the person who pays to get the advertisement or to get to advertise their products. So they're also a customer, they're also a stakeholder, because the outcome of the project management will have a positive or negative impact on the person. In Chinese, we say 利益相关者. Now, also, we need to know our resources or the requirements for this project. What's required? What kind of resources we need? Like doing this specific project, what type of people are we going to need? Like when we are doing the DAO database, okay, we are like Sister Wang is working on the database of our DAO members. Okay, so we know at least we need to have a computer and maybe also the necessary software, the database software. And then we need to have the person who can do the programming. Maybe, it can be a small scale programming, but it has to be someone who is literate with a computer database. Okay, and we might need a little bit of money. Of course, at Temple, we try to, save as much as we can when it comes to, expenditure. We try to look for free software, but at times when it's, especially like in a business, the freebie may not do as many functionality as the paid program or software. Okay, so we have to know our resources and also know who is the right person to do this job. Okay, and then sometimes we might need to do a little training for a person who is on the team. Okay, and then the methodology or the strategy to manage the project or to attain the goal of the project. Okay, now the strategy here is important that when we formulate the strategy, this strategy because we are talking about project here, right? But this project strategy has to be in line with the overall, the long-term strategy of the whole organization or the whole company. It should not form any clashes between, because then that's not being very productive, right? That's counterproductive. And then in this phase, we also have to kind of try to think or forecast if there's any challenges or any risk in this project. Like there are things that we think it's possible, but maybe down the road when we start a project, then some of the bottlenecks shows up. But as a project manager or the project management team, they have to have that kind of insight or we say forevision, right? So that we can also come up with some strategy or methods to overcome.
Excuse me, we need to take off the door, okay?
Okay, yeah. And then there's the culture and environment, okay? When we are delivering a project, we have to think of the cultural background of our audience, our targeted audience. For example, when we are sending Dharma class invitations to our members, we also have to bear in mind who they are. Like, at least we have the differentiation of the Chinese-speaking Dao members and the English Dao members. And ideally, if we have enough resources, we have a lot of Spanish-speaking Dao members here. We should also come up with a Spanish version of the invitation flyer. Yeah, we also, if possible, if we know our own Dao members better, we can also send our own invitation, because we know them well and we know what's going to click with them. And when we write appropriately, then we have a better chance to get them to sign up for the Dharma class. Okay, and the environment also. With a company, when they want to do some type of a project, like maybe to add an additional runway, the airport, an additional runway or a new highway, then we have to think of the environmental issue. Is that going to create air pollution or traffic congestion, things like that? Okay. And of course, when we are doing projects here, we also should have that concept in mind. We try to be, whatever we do has to be more environmentally friendly. Okay. Now the last one, which also is very important, is the social responsibility. Okay. We are all, part of this global community. Yeah. So whatever we do has to fit in with, the morality or the ethical standard. Okay, that's very important. So when we are defining a project objectives, there are criteria to follow. So this is the acronym, right? It's taken from the first letter of the word. It's SMART. Okay. Okay, first one, S means specific. Okay, like I said earlier, we cannot say, I just want to increase the exposure of the company or exposure of our temple without any very measurable, which is the second one. We have to have some quantitative, some numbers, something that we can gauge later. Are we meeting our performance standards, or are we meeting our goals? So the second one is measurable. So this usually means that whenever we have a goal, it has to be in numbers. Okay, so we have something to measure, to gauge. And the third one's attainable. Okay, we cannot set up a goal that we cannot attain. Then what's the point in having the goal, right? So it has to be attainable, and it has to be agreed upon by all the stakeholders. It's not just one or two, depending on how many stakeholders there are in this project. Okay, and also it has to be agreed upon by all the project team members. The last one is realistic. So this is also like result oriented. Okay, so it has to be practicable, it's achievable. Okay, the last one is time related. So whenever there's a project, there's always a beginning and there's always an end. Okay, if it does not have an end, that it's almost like a program because the program is usually stretched over a long period of time, and it's many different projects that kind of make up a program. Okay, so it has to be there should be a time deadline.
Here the project goal usually you have a must and a want. So must means you gotta meet. So if you don't meet the must, if you go down to the project, you find out you cannot meet the must, because there's going to be a few goals which you must meet. So now you cannot meet means the project cannot continue. You might sometimes a lot of times you might go back to management team to ask for approval to change the project. Want is different. Want is you can have it or you don't have it. That's
Yeah.
So we want to have this. So you can make a decision and say, okay, we want to improve the profitability. We don't need the money. But once you have a must be measurable. Okay, so you must want.
Thank you so much, Master Lin, for the contribution. Because Master Lin is on projects, all the time. So maybe at the end of the class, if we have time, you can also come and share with us. Any other inputs? Karen.
This is interesting because in elementary school, we teach the children how to set goals for themselves, and this is the same exact thing that we do.
Okay.
SMART.
Okay.
And so I set goals for themselves, for self-accomplishment, and then we teach them to set goals using this.
Okay.
So it's not just a project,
Okay.
but even for like bigger goals or bigger life objectives,
Yeah.
this makes it easier.
Okay. Yeah, so this is something we can all use, right? Whenever we have a goal or we have something we want to accomplish. Okay, now that's the second phase of the life cycle of a project. It's planning a project. So first of all, we have the objectives, we have the scope of our project. Now it comes to how we develop this into something that's workable. Now first of all, we have to have a work breakdown. Sometimes projects can be big, can be small, but when it's a big project, then you might want to break it down into manageable units. So we put 1 or 2 individuals to be in charge of each different units. Okay, it's not possible unless it's a small project. Then a person can accomplish it single-handedly. Otherwise, it calls for collaboration of many individuals. Okay. The second one is work schedule. And with this project management, one of the very often used chart or methodology, or it's a Gantt chart. I'm going to. So this is a Gantt chart. So you will see there are all different tasks, and each of the tasks has the person who is the leader, and each project has a start and an end. And of course, there's times that this task 1 may be overlapping with the task 2 and things like that. Okay, this is to show you an example. Oh, how do I go back to the previous slide? Oh.
The arrow key.
Okay, very good. Okay, well, I cannot go into detail. We don't have much time. And then the project budget. The project budget means that how much funding the project requires, what we have, and how we spend the funding at our disposal. Okay, this is also very important because a successful completion of project is not just we deliver the project. It also has to be within the context of the budget and also the time. Okay, then we have a very good monitoring plan. Okay, when at a certain point of time, whoever is going to check which aspect of the project. So it has to be a very good plan, so we can make sure that the project is always on track, that we can have a very good completion of the project. And then a communication plan, because we know there are always unexpected things along the life cycle of the project. So if some discrepancy or disparity or differences or variation come up, then we have a communication system where everyone across the board will be notified, and then we'll make necessary changes or amendments to the plan, or even sometimes we might have to kind of adjust the objectives a little bit, okay. And then the quality management, of course, that's important to make sure that the project is delivered to the satisfaction or even exceed the expectation of the stakeholders. And the last one is documentation. So I'm sure Master Lin can testify, all project has a very good documentation process, okay, because that's going to ensure that all the tasks or all the each individual units do their work, and also they together can contribute to the overall goal of the project. And also after the completion of the project, they have something to refer to later on if they need to, if something goes wrong, or it's going to help with the future projects. Okay.
We call project learn.
Yeah, project. Right. Yeah.
So next project you will not make the same mistake.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Well, before I had my own business, I was working as the administration manager at a company, and we work on many projects. And it's from that job that I really realized how documentation is very important. We thought we can always remember that today, tomorrow, but just maybe a week down the road, we probably don't know anymore. And the customer may come back to ask, he says something, I said something. If we have a good documentation, it's there. And usually whenever we have a project, try to always communicate with a written form, not verbal. Because everything documented, there's no misunderstanding, or there's no finger pointing.
Always emails.
Yeah, emails or whatever in writing. This is the Gantt chart. Okay, now the next step is going to be executing the plan. So this is a joke. I want to make sure that you are always on top of it. Okay, this is the execution of a project. Of course, that very important is that we have to track the progress of the project. It can be performed by many different people, or it can be done by a project manager if this is a small project. And by tracking, this is to make sure that the project can be delivered in a timely fashion, that it can meet the deadline. And the second one is to evaluate the performance or the quality of the project. If it's still in line with the goal, it's going towards the goal, or it's going to go up, apart on the opposite direction. Okay, and we also need to know, because as we carry out the plan, we'll find out there's some unexpectedness. Okay, so we need to identify what are the variations from our forecast, from our original objectives, and then we have to communicate the deviations to the relevant person, so that they can also take corrective actions to get the project back on track. Okay. And then this is the conclusion.
The previous one.
Okay.
My father is one very interesting, very important, because I used to use Gantt chart. But Gantt chart sometimes become complicated.
Yeah.
You have to see the detail of each action item, where we are. So sometimes Gantt chart can convert to Excel. So Gantt chart just print out Excel format. So you can see the action item on the left hand side, and then you can see, okay, when do you expect to finish this item? Who is supposed to finish the item? And then who is actually finish the item? So you can put one more item, one more column there. So you can see action item, when do you expect to finish? Who is doing that? When do you expect to finish? So you can put down in Excel. Sometimes micromanage a little bit, just in case you need it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. See, I'm not the right person to do this. We have a lot of people who have a lot of experience in the project management. Yeah, but maybe this is what we say, the project management lesson number 1. Maybe later on we have more advanced or more detailed discussion on project management. Okay, so this is the at the conclusion of the project, when we hand over the completed project to the stakeholders, to our targeted customers, and then we need, of course, to obtain acceptance of approval from the stakeholders, so the project can be closed, right? And of course, we also want to measure the actual outcome against the forecast. Do we meet, or do we fall short, or do we even exceed? Okay, because this is how we can learn what we are doing very well and where we are lacking, where our weaknesses are, and what we need to do better in future projects. So we also need to document the findings. This is also very important and valuable for future projects. Okay, and also prepare a closeout project. Okay, and with all this findings and experience that we gain from the project. Okay, and also to archive. Most of the communications on paperwork can be in electronic format, but there's still some paperwork. So it's important that we archive it in a very good way. So in the future, if we need to go back to the project, then we know where to go to. 好像时间好紧。So these are key steps in successful project management. Of course, the first one is to fully scope the project before we start. Okay, you cannot just go, just jump into the project without any planning. Okay, like there's such English saying that's well begun, half done, right? 就是我们说事半功倍哈。Okay, and then to assemble a project team and assign tasks according to people's strength. We also need to keep a close eye on the budget, time, and compliance. Okay, when doing this, I think like with our group, 我们文书组, I usually like to have a reverse timeline, like when the Dharma class will be, because this is something, Dharma class, especially the May Dharma class, is a huge deal, right? So we want to make sure everything is on schedule, everything is in its right place to make sure that we can be a good support to the entire Dharma class. So I like to have a reverse timeline. Like at this point, this document has to be all ready, and how long do I need to have the document done? Then I kind of plan my time backwards. So what time or on what day should we start? Like today, I think if we have time, I'm going to talk about the invitation flyer, because this is first thing first to get the people to sign up for the Dharma class, and we really should have get this done way before now. Okay, so this is something we have to do, and then later on we might want to start putting together a class schedules or the staff duty schedule and things like that. Okay, so it has to be, do it in a very systematic way. And also we also have to, closely check the compliance. Like, with some project, you might have to comply with certain codes of, codes of the industry or things like that. Sometimes, when things gets out of way, then they are doing things that's going against the codes or the standards, then that's not good, okay? And it's also important to have regular update meetings to share information, like if they find any unexpected deviations, and also to focus on what matters most. And lastly, this is on a day-to-day basis, and this is how I think I can survive in a very hectic, work schedule. I'm talking about my own business. Every day there's so much to do, but no matter how busy I am, I always try to file my information in a very organized way. Like, this is the technical information. This is the vendor information. This is like the accountant. I have, many different folders for my documents, and usually, no matter how busy I am, I will try to organize them at the end of the day. If I can't do it every day, I will do it at least once a week. So when sometimes I'm very busy and the customer would ask me to give them some kind of like technical report and things like that, immediately I know where to draw the report. So that saves time. Yeah. So, day-to-day homework is also very important.
Two ways. When you see the email every day, once all of you can do more email down the road, job or anything, see your email, you see the important stuff, file away. you see what I mean? That's how I do it. So you see, today you got 30 emails. You read the email, you see this is important, you want to file away already. So you don't have to go back to read the email again. So because you don't have time to go back.
Yeah.
So when you see an email important, you file away to the folder you need it. So you already did that.
Yeah.
Rather than come back the other day.
Yeah, and also with because a lot of my personal email has to do with our temple, and so I have different tag or something. Like this is for Dharma class, this is for Wenshuju, and this is for classes, and things like that. Or with my business, I also have different customers or vendors. Or this is the tax, the tax tab and things like that. So it really enable us to work more efficiently, even under great pressure. And of course, we have to have a hunter's nose for talents. Especially, we need a lot of talents in our temple to help propagate the Tao, to make sure that we can reach to as many people as possible. So that's why I know we have a lot of masters, lecturers. They are so good at developing talents. They will try to motivate people and try to share with them some experience in how to help with the Tao affairs and things like that. And you are the future of the temple, so that's something we all need to develop. Okay, so what makes a good PM? Okay, these are some of the personal attributes, right? Focus, organized, or result oriented. Also, this is like attitude part, dedication, patience, perseverance. There are going to be a lot of difficult times, and we need to be able to just persevere. Okay, and should be a good leader and team builder, a good communicator. That's also very important. Well, when I'm talking about this, I'm far from being those qualities. But by talking about this, I kind of remind myself this is something I need to mold myself into. Okay, and we must also be able to thrive under pressure, because sometimes with project there's time constraint and we have to complete the project in a very short period of time. So have to be able to be cool, stay cool. Okay, and also the sound technical knowledge. Without the technical know-how, it's impossible to accomplish the task. And the next one is empathetic and enthusiastic. We have to show the zeal to the group, right? Otherwise, if we are just like this, no one's going to, be passionate about the project. And also, there are times that encounter difficulties. We have to put ourselves in their shoes. Try to solve the problem for them. Don't say, "Oh, it's your problem." You solve problem yourself. Okay, that's not the right way. That's not team spirit. And the last one is very important for the person to have very good business ethics. Just like for an enterprise or a company to be a very responsible, member of the society. We say the social responsibility.
Also report to the upper management regularly, even temple job regularly.
Yeah. Okay. So to add to the last is that at the temple we have to remember the 15 regulations. Okay. Now we all can remember now. It's very helpful. The easy way to. Okay, now this is our document. I don't know when Shuju documentation group is the right word. Okay, so there are long-term and short-term projects with this group. The long-term is, day to day. It does, well, you can say no end. Okay. We have to maintain the DAO members' information. Sometimes they have change of address or email, or they move to some place. So we have to add the new members and also update, keep their information current. Okay. Now also take temple meeting minutes. We also email class notices to to our DAO members. We also have to take good care of our temple books, written and AV materials. AV being audio and video. Okay, and then we also generate relevant reports in support of other temple groups and projects. Like we have the motivation group, right? 成全组. So it's our responsibility to generate our new members in a periodically, like 1 month or 2 months, so they can give the information to all the DAO members, and they can call or email the new members to invite them to come to the temple. These are just a few of them, okay? And the short term, Dharma class is, coming very fast. There's a lot of documentation support we give. Okay, there's so many different forms. We have the registration, do the registration, and then sometimes when we receive their registration, we might find out that they already have some change. There are already some changes to their personal information. Then we have to update the information. And like I said earlier, we have to prepare the class, help prepare the class schedules and staff duties. We do the paperwork. We don't make the decision. Okay, I have to make it clear. Okay, we do whatever we are told to do. Like who is going to be helping with this, which area. Okay, and then we also have to make sure that we have all the supplies, the stationery necessary for Dharma class, like the big white paper to write the scripture when Buddha's channel. We also we also need to have the little square paper sticker that we use when sometimes we write wrong words. When Buddha says something, that's something to stick on. We also need to have we say the certificates for the vow taking certificates, 立愿表文, and all the seals and everything. You name it, a lot of things. We're going to have a separate session on preparing for the Dharma class, maybe in April or maybe later this month. So we're going to talk about the details.
You can press the bottom, the very bottom by the 90%.
Next to it.
You're supposed to have 5.
Okay. And then also, process the scripture by Buddha and saints during Dharma class. That's also a huge task. It's a very, always say, 很殊胜的. Okay. I learned so much. I'm sure Sister Pang can also, all of us who have been involved in the scripture before can testify to that there's so much. In order for us to really help with the scripture, we also need to prepare ourselves on a daily basis. Like we have to be conversant with the scripture, and we also have to be well read in sutras and classics. Okay, so that when Buddha says something, we know, oh, this is the word. Because sometimes a sound, one Chinese sound can have many different words, right? So this is something that we have to do, on a regular basis. And of course, you need to be very meticulous when you are doing this. Also need to be have a lot of patience. Okay, and actually in last year's Dharma class, a holy teacher said, when you are doing the scripture, don't you think that that's just a repetition of words? You don't want to add one word and you don't want to skip one word. So we have to be very strict. Okay, and then we also have some special events at the temple. Like a few years ago, we have the commemoration event to mark our grand predecessors spreading down to the USA for 30周年 60周年 30 years, right? Yeah. So we also have to do some kind of a lot of paperwork and to help with the event. Okay. So again, I cannot really talk about everything, but with the Wenshuju's projects or task, we're going to have a different meeting on that. And I personally have learned a lot helping with this group, working in this group, especially working with scripture during the Dharma class. So I would like to encourage all of you to sign up and support this group, especially for the May Dharma class. Okay. So finally, this is the attitudes that we need to have. Also, we need to have a lot of discretion in handling and disputing scripture and relevant materials. So lecturer she helped me so much with this this job, and every time she before Dharma class, she always emphasized to me that we should not be just giving away scripture to whoever asks for it. Although we want to help spread the Dharma, we want to help spread the truth, but we still need to be very careful in handling the scriptures. Okay, so she said I can never overemphasize this. Okay, and I'm sure I sometimes fell short of the goal or the expectation, but we try to improve day after day. Okay, so this is I guess at the end of the class, at the end of this, I'd like to share a joke with you. Okay, so there were two people, a project manager, hardware engineer, computer engineer, and also a software developer went on a project to Florida, and somewhere in the middle of the project, they went to the beach for a walk. Okay, and somehow this is the joke. They came by a genie, Genie, Jeni, like an angel, and the angel said, "I can grant your wishes." Okay, so the software engineer said, "Oh, I wish I could live in a big mansion with no money worries for the rest of my life." Okay, and then the angel asked the hardware engineer, "What's your wish?" He said, "I wish I would be spending all my time in the yacht, yachting, cruising the Caribbean for the rest of my life." Okay, and then the angel, so the angel granted both of their wishes. Okay, and then he went to the project manager and asked, "What's your wish?" He said, "I want both of them to go back to work after this." Okay, well, this concludes my very, not very successful presentation. And if I say anything wrong, I ask for forgiveness of Buddhas and saints, and also for transmitter and all of you, all lecturers. And please correct me.